Well, hello there. Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised on the Radio, number 51. I am one half of the show. I am Colt Brocado. My good friend Patrick Blair in Zoomland, as usual, that's getting old. That's really getting old. One of these days, we're going to have to get together to do something. I know I've said that before, but I'm done with COVID. I'm done with this. Let's just get together and hang out and talk.
If only COVID cared that you're done with it.
That's very true. It does not give two shits about me.
Doesn't give a fuck. But yeah, Zoom's great. Maybe Saturday.
That'd be cool.
Since you mentioned Zoom, it got me. So I'm glad you once again kicked off the show with, "Hey, he's in Zoomland," because that's where I am every show. But it had me thinking about something. Can I tell you something that needs to stop immedientely on podcasts?
Okay. I was just hoping. I was hoping you weren't gonna start bad mouthing me for something.
No.
Because that's the way.
Well, I will if you do.
Like,
no. I will if you do what I'm about to bitch about. So look. I guess I'm becoming known, or those that know me know that I go on these rants, and I'm called a hater often. I get it.
That doesn't sound like you.
No. Of course not. So there is something that I'm seeing on podcasts. So obviously there are video versions of the podcast. If I'm just listening, I don't even know what's happening, but I'm seeing it.
Okay.
And you got to understand too, when I'm talking about podcasts, I'm talking about guys who have millions of followers. They basically have an internet TV show. Fair?
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to mention names because I'm really about to just call them all douchebags for the people that are doing this. So, but here's what you should not be doing on a podcast ever. The first one is what I'm seeing a lot of lately. And dude, it is the grossest thing to me. For all of you out there that smoke cigars while you do your podcast, I want to point something out to you right now. It is the cringiest, douchiest thing you can do on a video podcast. Stop doing it.
Do you know who you're calling out with this? Like, you are calling out a bunch of huge names.
Yeah.
For
Stop
doing
fucking
this.
doing it. I don't care if you're doing your podcast via Zoom. I don't care if you're in your man cave. I don't care where you're broadcasting from. Don't do it. It looks bad. You're on video. Put the fucking cigar down. Okay? Also,
for some reason, it seems worse through Zoom than it would if it's two guys in a room talking.
I disagree.
I understand a little bit more than that, but if you're on Zoom and you've got just that small video in front of you, I don't know, it feels cringier that way.
It's cringe to me regardless. But see, what you just said though, it's like, well, if it's two guys in a room having a conversation, that's what these guys want you to believe. Like, hey, we're gonna bro down. We're gonna have a conversation. Gonna have a few beers. We're gonna talk. So light up the cigar. No, don't do that. It's gross. It's gross. Okay? But also, no tobacco use of any kind. I've seen people dipping on podcasts.
Now that's disgusting.
I've seen people with the tobacco pouches in their front lip. What are you doing? Don't do that.
And are you telling me you can't make it through an hour podcast without doing that?
Yeah.
If so, you have a problem.
Don't do that. In fact, no smoking of any kind. I've seen people vape. Don't do that. Don't even get me started on vaping in general, but don't do it on video.
I have actually seen that, and it's pretty, especially because of the noise that vape makes.
Yes. What are we doing? I understand that I'm annoying and I slurp my coffee sometimes, but look, you can drink during a podcast, okay? No smoking, no chewing, no sucking. What are you, a toddler? Do you need to suck on something while you do a podcast? Stop it. I don't even care if it's marijuana. No smoking joints, no smoking marijuana. As you know, I am pro marijuana for all uses, medical, recreational. Do it. I do it, okay? Wouldn't do it on this podcast.
You know what,
Would not light up a joint right now.
You know what, though? If podcasters listen to you right now,
yeah,
then we would never have the memes of Elon Musk smoking weed on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's a major deal.
One of the most cringe moments in human history is that silly guy, is that silly guy smoking on his podcast. Look, I know Rogan's podcast, they're known for smoking weed on it. That's his shtick. That's fine. But don't smoke cigars. But here's the other thing too, and I guess this is when it started bothering me. I think at first, when I saw people smoking cigars, I was like, oh, it's a vice. They are at their house, whatever. Do what you do. It's your house. You can do what you want. But like staring into the camera and taking a puff off that stogie, you're an asshole. Don't look at me when you suck on that brown dick, okay? Don't do that. I'm sorry, man. It bothers me. I was watching. So I have a.
You talk about cringe. That is maybe the most cringiest thing you've said on this show so far.
But that's what they're doing, and that's how it makes me feel. That's how gross it makes me feel. I feel like I had to paint a picture.
Oh man. Okay.
But look, I have a newly discovered show that I kind of started listening to yesterday. Now, a couple of things have happened when I've kind of went through the catalog a little bit, and a couple of things have happened, and they've said, I'm like, you might have lost me. One of the things that first happened was one of the guys smoking a cigar. So every time he wasn't speaking, picks up the cigar, takes a big drag off the cigar, blows the smoke right into the camera. And this is a sports show too.
Wow.
So like, and look, we know athletes smoke cigars. Whatever, Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. Cigars are his thing. Also, he looks cringy when he does it, but you're not the great one when you do that. Is he the great one, or is that Wayne Gretzky? Yeah. What is Michael Jordan's? It's Air Jordan. What is he called?
Are you having an argument inside your head on this podcast?
I'm having an aneurysm right now. That's how heated this has me.
You are sleep deprived. I think that's what's going on.
I am sleep deprived. That's for sure. But yeah, so I have this newly discovered show, and the dude just every time he's not speaking, he smoke. I'm like, and he wasn't in the room with the other guy. It was via Zoom or whatever they were doing. But just stop doing that. Does this bother you, or is this just me?
I honestly don't watch a whole lot of podcasts visually. I mean, it's not the best look I can imagine, but I don't watch like podcasts on YouTube very often. I just don't have the time to do it. If I listen to it, it's an audio version. So
I guess I'm on the toilet more than most people, but that's typically where I'm watching things. And I am on the toilet more than most people.
So, okay, let me ask you this. When you send me something, when you send me a YouTube video or something, is there the majority of the time, have you watched that whole thing before you send it to me? Or do you
no.
Rush through
something will piss me off and I'll immediately pause it, click share, copy and send. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense because I get these videos all the time. And it's not just from you, it's from anybody. And it may be a half an hour video, an hour video here or there. And I'm like, where do you guys find the time in your day to watch this stuff?
Oh, no. Yeah.
I get up and I go straight to work and then I go to the gym and then I come home and I have stuff at home to do. And I'm like, where do you find an hour and a half, 2 hours just to watch this stuff? But I also do know that you're on the toilet a lot. So that does make a little more sense.
I also work from home. You do not.
That's true. That's true.
Believe me, have plenty of downtime. Which I don't. Never mind. I was going to go. Never mind. That's a rant. I'll save that one for my wife off the podcast. So like, I don't know if this bothers anyone else. I don't know who started this. Who started the cigar smoking on podcasts?
I mean, I don't know who started it, but I look at it as kind of like, as you said, it's all we're doing is sitting down and drinking a couple of beers and hanging out kind of a thing. And they're trying to show like the ambiance or the, like if it literally was just two guys in a man cave, drinking beers and chatting, now they just have microphones in front of them. So they're trying to make it look like what it would look like. Plus they like smoking cigars. But also, you're a cigar guy. You like smoking cigars, right?
No.
Every once in a while?
I hate them.
You don't at all?
No.
Why did I think you were a cigar guy?
No, I'm not. Definitely not.
Okay.
I've tried
but
two times in my life to become one. I can't.
But you're not coming at this from the angle of cigars are disgusting, don't do it. You're coming at it just from the angle of this visually looks bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell people what to do. And even though I am, don't do it on podcasts. Do what you want, but don't do it on video. It's gross.
Okay.
Don't stare into the camera, into my eyes, and puff on that stogie. I don't want to see it. It's weird. No, I mean, yeah. No, I'm not telling. I mean, I do think cigars are gross, but I won't get too far into that because I do have many people, friends of mine, that love to do it. So, but they know it's not for me. They've tried. I have many people in my life have tried. I've gone to cigar clubs. It's just, man, it's just not for me.
I've never been to a cigar club. I would like to go. I'm not a cigar fan. I'll smoke one every once in a while, but they do not like me. Like the next morning, my throat feels disgusting, and I can't get that taste out of my mouth for like 3 days.
Dude, yeah. So one of my buddies recently got married, and for his bachelor party, one of the places we went to was a cigar club, and we were outside. Okay, I didn't smoke a cigar. I didn't touch one. All I did was drink. We were outside, and the next day I had the cigar taste in my mouth, and I didn't even smoke.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not.
Was it the big ones like the?
I don't fucking know, man. I don't know anything about cigars.
Okay.
Dude, it was a really weird place. Dude, it was a cool place, and it was really weird. We'll call it a hood cigar club, but okay. We're driving to it, and we pull up, or I have the address in my phone, and GPS is giving me directions, and I got a friend in the car with me, and we pull up, and I go, "Why are we going? I thought we were going to cigar club. Why are we at someone's house?" He goes, "No, this is it." And I go, "Is someone getting murdered right now? What? Or are we setting someone up? What is this?"
So like there's no signs in the windows or
nothing.
Anything like that? It looks like a house.
It looks like a house, a big
weird.
Yeah. And you walk in, it's kind of like the front door was like you're not from the city, so you might not know what I'm talking about, but like your grandma's front door. Everyone my age that grew up in St. Louis, it's likely that their grandma wasn't born into money. We were working class, so it's likely you had a grandmother that had this door that I'm picturing, a big door with an oval sort of window in the front. Like
I got you.
Anyway, So it had one of those doors. I was like, oh, this is like grandmama's house. And then you walk in and you go to the left, and it's this giant shotgun, beautiful, like exposed brick room where everyone's smoking a giant, what is it, a humidor? Is that where you keep cigars?
I think so, yeah.
So giant humidor to the right where you go in and you make your choices. Again, I know nothing about this. But and then you keep going, and what would be like the kitchen dining room area is now another smoking area, and then a beautiful patio, like covered patio with a bar. 2 bars in the place, one outside, one inside. The place was awesome. It was a really cool place. So I immediately went outside, and I think everyone just sort of, that's where we ended up. And again, I didn't smoke, but
I bet when you walked in that front door, that just punched you right in the face, didn't it?
Whoa, it did. And also I was the only white guy there. So it was like the record skipped, and everyone was like, look at this fucking guy. But, whatever, that doesn't bother me. That's fine. But yeah, man, anyway, they're gross. I don't know. They're not, just stop doing it on podcasts, everyone. But also, like, what's with the nicotine pouch and the front lip now? I've seen a couple of people do that. Why would you, when you have to speak, put something in your mouth that takes away your ability to speak clearly? What?
Okay, so this is the, and this is off the top of my head, but this is the only thing that I can think of. So you may have heard this before, but have you ever heard, like on Joe Rogan, his podcast, he talks about every once in a while about the small high you get by just taking a drag off of cigarette right before you go on stage?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard him talk about that? Like he says it, like it puts you in a different zone, like that nicotine rush there right before he goes on stage puts him like this different zone. Now, is that an excuse for somebody? It could be. That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that would be why. But other than that, it's just they don't care. It's just they go on. They don't care that they're on video, and they're just going to be who they are. And normally they have a nicotine pouch in their mouth. Is it gross? Yes. Should you do it on camera? Absolutely not. In my opinion, but I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is they feel they just get that rush, that feeling from the nicotine.
Okay, but if you're a person who is a regular nicotine user, you don't get that rush anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And also, Joe Rogan talking about that rush also sounds like him talking about how Alpha Brain helps you focus. Let's just stop. Let's just calm down. Okay, Joe?
Have you taken Alpha Brain before?
Yeah.
Did you get anything from it?
A hole in my bank account because it's $60 fucking.
It is
you
expensive.
can go to Walgreens or CVS and get the same thing for $14.99. So I took it, finished one bottle,
this isn't a bashing session of On It. I'm not trying to do that.
No,
I was just asking
no.
if you ever had it before.
No, I'm an advocate of the products, but they're overpriced.
I gotcha.
You can find the same supplements, generic branded supplements at pharmacies. Anyway,
right.
But yeah, I just finished the bottle and I called it a day on that. It's like, well,
I gotcha.
This did not do what it was advertised to do, so I'm not going to spend the money anymore.
And then you know how, and I'm not talking about On It, but I'm talking about just companies in general. Then they add on, well, you have to take it for a certain amount of time for it to, either build up in your system or whatever. So okay, now I'm 3 bottles in because I had to take it for long enough for it to actually work, and I'm still not feeling anything. That's weird, even though I spent $300.
Yeah. Let's not bash on it. They're doing a lot better than we are.
Absolutely.
But also, we're true nutrition guys, so
that's true. Very true.
Anyway, yeah. So the nicotine pouches too. I don't know. Again, someone DM me or just let me know if this bothers you too. I gotta know. I feel like this is probably one of those things that it's just me. I'm bitching about something again, but God, it fucking grosses me out. I don't know what it is. I want to call out the one person who I saw doing the nicotine pouch so badly because we've talked about him before and we talk about what a knucklehead he is. And it's like, why you have a hard enough time speaking and conveying
is this who I think it is?
Probably, yeah.
Really?
I sent you a picture of their new podcast set.
What?
Yeah.
He's doing that? Why?
Because because it's a nootropic and he thinks it helps him think better and think clearly because someone else sold him on that idea. Yeah.
Oh, dude, what is going on? Why? I don't know, dude.
The one thing well, but he's doing just nicotine. Like it's not a tobacco pouch, it's just nicotine. Which again, it's addictive. You're addicted to the nicotine, but I guess it's safer because it's not the tobacco and there's not all the chemicals, but either way.
Have you watched this show enough to hear him describe this? Like, how did you know this?
Know what?
Like, how do you know he's just doing nicotine in this pouch?
He said one time the brand, and I have friends that do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe that brand is tobacco plus nicotine, but I'm pretty sure it's just nicotine. Again, I don't do any of these things. Once upon a time in my life, I did, but I'm so out of it now. I don't know anything about this stuff. So the 2 people get passes though, and I'm glad I remembered this. So for cigars, there's one guy that gets a pass, and there probably are more in my head that I can't. But who do you think I'm talking about?
My guess is Bill Burr.
No, he is one of the grossest ones. Bill,
really?
Stop. Yeah, he's disgusting. Stop smoking cigars on camera. No, Ron White. Ron White gets a pass.
Because he's normally has a cigar in his hand.
That's his thing. That's his thing. He didn't just start doing it because he was on video on a pot. That's his thing. He gets a pass. And then with chewing, with tobacco, with dip, I got to let Cowboy Cerrone do what he wants. I just do. I'm one of his biggest fans.
I respect that.
Yeah. And he can kick my head off, so he gets to do what he wants. Other than that,
speaking of Cowboy, have you heard anything about that amateur league that he's trying to put together?
No.
He's trying. Last I heard, now I haven't heard anything about it recently, but the last I heard, he's trying to put together like an amateur MMA league, I guess is what it's considered, out of the ranch,
Well, that's
and
cool.
that he'll live stream and stuff. Thought that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I mean he's got the connections that it could probably turn into something like that a UFC could pull from. Maybe down the road.
Why not?
Because Cowboy's going to bring in some of the top level MMA coaches and stuff.
Well, he's already got all those people there.
Yeah, I know. But,
people actually go out there and train. So yeah, why not start a league?
Yeah, that'd be like a chance of a lifetime, I would think.
I don't know how happy Uncle Dana would be about that though, with the Contender Series and Cowboy being one of his employees. Well, he's an independent contractor, but Cowboy being one of his fighters.
Well, okay, so I don't want to spread too much rumors about that because literally I'm getting this from, he made a post one time on like Instagram. This was a couple of months ago, saying if we were to start this out of the ranch and live stream it, who would watch or something like that. So to me, that thinks, okay, the ball's already rolling. He just wants to get people involved.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But let me back up. We need to be the podcast that starts rumors. So start the fucking rumor. Who gives a shit? All right. Hey, you mentioned something to me, and it's been a while now. And you know what? I think at the time I was so damn tired and I was trying to do something baby related, or you said that Taylor Swift is going to be on rock radio now or something. What was that about?
No, I said that they are playing her on The Point.
No, they're
105.7 The Point. Yes, they are.
What? Wait, hold on. What are they playing? Does she have a new music out that is considered?
Apparently, she has a new song, and they considered it her dipping her toe in the alternative music world. So now they're playing that song. I think I can't remember who. Somebody's in it. I can't remember who it was. I listened to 2 seconds of it, and I turned it off and immediately texted you and said, Jesus Christ.
Well, good for her. Good for them. I don't know. I had no idea. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan by any means.
I mean, yeah.
So she's dipping. You know what? Is that the words that were used? Dipping?
Yes.
Her toe?
Yes.
Ugh.
I know.
Here's the thing, and my reaction to this, while it seemed like I'm anti her being played on a rock radio station, I'm not. Can't we all just sort of assume that someone like her could just put out a rock record or an alternative record? Like she's capable of doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Don't have to like it, but
I think her name is big enough that it wouldn't matter really what genre she put out music in, I guess, right?
Well, that's not my point. I'm talking about like her ability to just write songs and not have genre in the back of her head when writing them.
Right.
Apparently she writes all of her stuff, dude. That's why she's so amazing. So like, well, the same thing, like I saw one of these magazines on Twitter posted that Miley Cyrus is going to put out a rock record or something. Now, my immediate reaction was, ugh, because I can't stand her. But why couldn't she? You know what I mean? She works with talented people, talented songwriters who write for everyone. Why couldn't they write her songs like that? You know?
Right.
I feel like we were like, you're pigeonholed into being your genre, and like we kind of, the general public assumes that, oh, Taylor Swift could never do that.
Do you think MGK was that way, and he kind of broke the boundary with switching over to doing a more poppier record?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I just think he had the ability to do so. I think he always liked rock music. He always did rock music, but he was submerged in rap and hip hop and was seeing success at that. Now he's taken off. He's taken off and run with it, man. Like he just did a pop punk musical.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah,
see that.
I didn't see it. I didn't pay attention, but I saw him post about it. They did it in like 4 days, like shot it and completed it in like 4 days. Look, man, he's embraced the sound. He has embraced the image, the lifestyle, the look, everything about it, and good for him. I don't think he broke any new ground. No, but also I wasn't again like I don't think people should like assume that he's not capable of writing and recording that type of music. You know, just like I'm not going to assume that, you know, Travis Barker couldn't put out a hip hop record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're so used to doing that. We being the general public that listens to radio, we don't like when someone infiltrates what we love and what we listen to, or what, you know what I mean? Like, so like the alternative tastemakers and the rock tastemakers are like, great. Now we got to deal with this bitch. But
What do
it's
you?
like,
I mean, what? How do you feel about that as far as country music goes? I know you're not a country music fan, but I mean, as far as like these artists, that are alternative or that are rock or hip hop that are moving into country music. Like, well, how does that? How do you feel about that, or do you even care because it's country music?
I didn't know that was happening.
You've never heard of like Florida Georgia Line and how, or bands like
Aren't
that?
they a country duo?
They are, but aren't they one of the ones that like started having more of a that kind of sound, like a hip hop sound, or not hip hop, but like a poppier sound? I don't know. Anyways,
Are
regardless,
you asking me the history of Florida Georgia Line?
shut up,
I
shut
have
up.
no fucking clue.
Actually, the farthest that I know about Florida Georgia Line is they did a song with Nelly. That's
Hmm.
literally all I know about
What's
Florida
that
Georgia
song?
Line. Uh, Cruise. Is
Yes.
that right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So people have complained. I've heard country artists complain that that's not country, that's pop.
And
Um,
see that's a lot of what's going on in country music now. There's a lot of people complaining about the direction that it's moving because of all these artists that are being considered country now that are really more poppy.
but didn't Garth Brooks start that way back in the '90s? Like
I
there
mean,
were country artists. Okay, before Garth Brooks emerged as a pop star, there were country artists that did actual country music. Like what's the guy's name? Man, see, this is how much I know about country. Clint Black.
he did something poppy.
No. He's country, and he
Oh,
existed
okay.
before Garth Brooks came along, and he did
Okay.
country. He has a song on a football movie. That's why I know his name. Anyway, there was him,
Okay.
and there were other guys. Again, I know nothing about this. But then Garth Brooks came along and changed the sound, and it was crossover pop. So didn't that start when he? What I'm saying is, did people vacate that idea once Garth Brooks he never went away, but once like he got older and like the sound became he became a household name and the sound sort of became a staple for what country is?
I mean, maybe not. I guess it was just an evolution of country music at that time.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't think Florida Georgia Line is breaking any new ground,
Well, and
by
that might
having
not
that.
that might not be the best example. Using them might not be the best example either. I just know that there are other artists that a lot of people complain about who are country music fans because other new artists are coming in and they sound really poppy, and it's just not. And maybe it's just people complaining because that's not what they're used to as a country music sound. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, the one person that I know for sure of, because he's more funny to me as a character. I'm not necessarily a fan of his music, but I've heard Wheeler Walker complain about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, but this is also a guy who wrote a song called "Eating Pussy and Kicking Ass"
Yeah.
or something like that.
Uh
Um,
huh.
so like T
Actually,
here,
my by the way, my favorite story about that is actually Cowboy Cerrone because he said that on Rogan's podcast once that he'll crank that up in the gym when
oh
they're
yeah,
getting
yeah,
ready to
yeah.
roll or something like that. And I'm like, that is
Is that
hilarious.
how I discovered Wheeler Walker? I can't remember.
He was
Again,
on Rogan's show.
I know he's been on there, but I didn't listen. I don't know when I've heard him complaining about it, but I know I have. Maybe it was on Tom Segura's podcast. But
Well, for anybody who doesn't know who he is basically a country music artist, I guess, kind of, but that hates the direction that country music is going. So he decided to do everything on his own and write his own music and put out his own music. And it's like, it's very vulgar and very out there.
Yeah, I mean the subject matter is out there, but the songs and the sound isn't
It's
different
like the
from
older,
any. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like 80s, 90s country sound.
Before Garth Brooks.
Yeah, probably maybe right before or maybe during the same time. Just I guess it just depends on who the artist is you're talking about.
Yeah, I just
Man,
I am
we just
not
spent way
schooled.
too long on country music.
Yeah, I am not schooled in this. I sound like an idiot. I have no idea. Well, it kind of makes me happy that I don't know about country music, but
Yeah, true. That's a nice mug you got there, by the way.
hey, yeah. Thanks. A friend of
You're
mine
welcome.
gave it to me.
Did
It's
he?
a raised on the radio mug.
Bring it closer to the mic, or I mean there you go. Nice. I like it. I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
But I will say this though, as much as I shit on country music and I say I'm not a fan, I've been to one show, and I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I had a really good time when I went because it was just a big party, and that's what I want
Okay,
out of a live
so I
show.
think you're wrong. I think you're lying to me because I know you've been to at least 2 shows, and the other time you hated it.
Country?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I went to Garth Brooks. Damn.
you
Yeah,
did.
I hated it. I hated
Because I was there. I
I
was there.
hated every moment of it. But that wasn't a country show to me. That was
A spectacle?
Garth Brooks. It's different. It's just different. Uh,
What?
it is. I mean, we fucking
Okay,
played the Edward Jones Dome, and there was 85,000 people there. Like that's
that's
not a
true.
normal event, you
That's
know.
true.
But I hated every moment of it. Every single moment. I don't know any of his music. I know "Friends in Low Places" and the other one with the video with the mentally challenged kids in it. I know that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Am I
Standing
crazy?
outside the fire.
Yes. See, I'm not. Yeah. Was it a Special Olympics
I don't
theme?
remember the video. I don't remember the video.
That's
I just
all I
remember
remember is
I just remember
the
the flames, the circle of flames, right? Something like that. Am I wrong?
I don't know. Yeah, I went
I
to
don't know.
that.
Maybe I made that up. I don't know.
Yeah. That was it's the whole time I was just like, God, what is it? I just felt like I was at like a one of those religious revival things that you see on TV, like a Joel Osteen show or something. Like that's what I felt. Like that's what I felt I was experiencing. I just wanted to look. Well, hold on. I just wanted to look to my right and look to my left, and I go, "You can't be buying this guy's bullshit this much. Stop smiling so much. What are you doing?" Like that's what I wanted to say to everyone. But whatever. They had a good time.
If somebody's good at editing and they really wanted to pull the clip from this just to make you look bad or make you look down upon yourself, they could make this look like you just said that seeing Garth Brooks is a religious experience.
But I never said that.
Close enough.
I'll edit that. I don't give a fuck. I'll put in. I don't care. People can think I said that. Well, the other show that I went to though was a good time. It was God, every time I forget every time. He had a song with Ludacris.
A country music artist had
Yeah.
a song with Ludacris.
Yeah, he did.
Are you sure? I feel like we've talked about this before.
Jason Aldean.
Are you sure it was Ludacris?
I don't know.
I
The
think
song
it's
was
not
really
because I think
popular.
I think we talked about this at one point, and you decided that it wasn't Ludacris, but I don't remember who it was.
I decided that, or you decided that?
We as a community decided that.
I'm googling Jason Aldean with rapper. I'm telling you, Ludacris. The song
Okay.
"Dirt Road." Yeah, Joe
I
Boy
did not.
Luda.
Okay, I did not know.
Anyway, free tickets, got invited, was hesitant for sure, but was like, all right, the people that are going, I enjoy them. They're fun. Let's go. It was fun. I sat out on the lawn, just partied. I mean, it was just a big party. It was fun.
Well, if you're on the lawn at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, I'm assuming that's where you're talking about.
Yes.
You're not there for the musical experience in general.
Why is that?
Because the lawn is the place to party.
Yeah, and hear the
I mean,
music.
I know that the ambiance and the music is part of that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not. The party is miles away on the lawn compared to if you got front row seats.
I'll be honest, I didn't hear a lick of music the entire time I was there. So you're probably
See,
right.
I told you.
Yeah. But the reason I enjoyed it again, it was a big party, and that's what I want out of a live show. The other time I remember it being sort of the same kind of vibe where it wasn't like, dude, that's always been like my biggest thing when I go to see like a band I like. There's so many people that aren't having a good time. They're just judging everything the band does. They fucked that up. The singer's voice cracked. The this and that. What's going on with the sound? Like, there's just so much of that. I'm just like, can't you just like go get a beer, go smoke some weed or something? Like, relax,
Well,
have a good time.
you're more sensitive to that though because you're a musician, though. Also,
Yeah, but still, man, like, why did you come? Why did you come here if you're just gonna judge everything you see? You know,
right?
I don't go.
And it's not like the artist is up there doing this on purpose. You know, it's not like they don't want everything to sound perfect while they're up there.
Yeah.
Just stuff happens.
Well, I just spent 10 minutes shitting on country, but I went to that show with an open mind. You know,
Right.
and even at Garth
Mm-hmm.
Brooks, when I say I hated every minute of it, I pretended I was having a swell time because I didn't buy the tickets, and the tickets were like $5,000 or whatever the fuck they were, man. Um, but the one time I remember too, like where it was just like, and I don't know why I was so surprised by this, but I saw Jay-Z um, in an arena, and like I didn't have good seats, like I was up sort of second level. But dude, it was just such a party, man. Like everyone was getting along. Everyone was like passing joints and blunts around. It was just like strangers just partying with each other. And I was like, God, this was such a good time. You got that just has to happen at more shows, at more rock shows. I feel like unless you're like by the stage where you clearly go to get beat up and sweat and get water thrown on you and have a good like I feel like if you're not down there, there's just so much of just people not having a good time. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, but and I did feel that way when I went and saw Kid Cudi. It was just the same thing. Like it was just a giant party.
Right.
And this was a dry show. It was at the University of Illinois, and they didn't serve
Oh wow.
booze in the arena. So
Wow.
there were a lot of sober people just partying, having it. Well, obviously they probably partied before. I know I did. And I didn't know that it was going to be a dry show. And I was like, I looked to my buddy and I was like, it's a good thing we got shit faced and took a cab here before the show because we
Did it
can't
hold
drink.
you through? Did it hold you through the show?
I think by the end of it, I was like, God, I need something. This is just, but whatever. I'm a booze bag, and you know. But anyway, yeah, it was just a giant party. I'm trying to think of rock shows where I felt that. I think Foo Fighters felt that way, but there's such a historic sort of like who goes to see the Foo Fighters to judge them, you know? Like that's so I think Foo Fighters felt that way. I mean, I saw U2 at Busch Stadium. That was just one giant, you know, good time for everyone. But it's U2.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to think of like less known bands or like less successful bands that I don't know. You just always like, well, one of my favorite bands is the band I've had you check out is 36 Crazy Fists.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw them was at Pops. And I remember being like, too, like, oh, they're playing Pops. Wow. Because the time before that, I saw them at the Firebird, and it was awesome. It was one of the best. It was just, it was great because there was not a ton of people, but everyone was a fan.
R.I.P. Firebird, by the way.
Yeah, true. But everyone was a fan. And I remember at the Pop show showing up and being like, oh, what? Who are these people? Like, I don't remember you being at the Firebird. Like, why are you not having a good time? But again, they're one of my favorite bands. I go to see them because I know all the lyrics. Yes, I know some lyrics.
But Pops is
Sing
also
along.
Pops is also a club though that you know you're not necessarily just there because of the band playing, right?
I mean,
Like
it
because I
wasn't
mean
3 a.m.
well that's true, I guess. But I
DJ
mean like there's
Skidmark wasn't playing. Wasn't doing a set. Like, what was
okay,
that?
I got what you're saying.
Yeah. But well, either way, it was. So I don't know. There are these moments that I just have vivid memories of. I guess because I'm psychotic like that. I don't know. What was the other rock show? Oh, recently, last summer maybe, or like not this past one because it was COVID, but the one before that, I went to see Third Eye Blind,
That'd be a good show.
and that's what I thought. And it was Third Eye Blind and Jimmy Eat World. I've never seen Third Eye Blind, so I wanted to get them off my list. And I like Jimmy Eat World enough to enjoy them, right? No one was having a good time.
Really?
It was weird. It was just weird. I don't know. That's just what I saw. It was at the amphitheater.
Really?
Yeah, did not sell.
That seems odd because that seems like, I mean, to me, it seems like Third Eye Blind and Jimmy Eat World are two bands that like I wouldn't say love or hate, but like if you like them, you really like them most of the time. And you would think that if you bought a ticket to go there, that these people would be amped.
I guess it was worse for Jimmy Eat World than it would because it was still light out when they played, and Third Eye Blind was different. I mean, there were a lot of Third Eye Blind fans there. But I still just it was. I don't know. I'm not bored when I go to shows, even if if I'm seeing someone that I'm not necessarily a fan of, because I'm still sort of, even today, still just fascinated by all of it. I'm fascinated to see their process, how they perform, not judging them, I anticipate hearing them and seeing them. So like,
right.
I don't know. I've never understood going to a show to not enjoy it. It's just be angry and just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning would be behind that. You paid for a ticket. Why would you not be there to be amped up and be enjoyed by it?
Well, I've actually heard pretty big bands complain about this is a St. Louis thing too. Like promoters suck here.
On purpose?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, they've just complained about, promoters suck here, venues suck here, everything, just like everything sucks here. The fans suck here. So I won't say the names, but yeah, I will. Fuck it. A Perfect Circle. I've heard them complain about St. Louis.
Is that, I mean,
mainly Maynard.
Really?
But, yeah.
So it's just A Perfect Circle. It wasn't Tool.
Yeah, he didn't see. Well, Tool fans have an army.
Yeah, true. No matter where they're at, I guess.
Yeah, it's different. It's just a different thing. That was another show, man. I saw A Perfect Circle with Mars Volta in Kansas City. And I think what ruined the night for everyone is Mars Volta was opening. And if you were on the floor, what they made you do before they played, this is while they're sound checking or the crew's doing the sound check, they wanted you to sit down on the floor Indian style and face away from the stage.
What?
Yes. And there was security on the floor making sure that you did this. Because I remember walking in with a friend of mine and they were like, yeah, you got to sit down. And I was like, huh?
Do they have stage fright or what?
I just think they're cunts. I just think. But I remember they were like, yeah, you got to sit down. I was like, what? And they're like, this is the band's request. We have to honor the band's request. And I was like, I'm not sitting down. And they're like, well, then you got to go wait outside until they start. I was like, well, there's beer outside. So see you later, bro.
Right.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. So I felt like that was a bad start to the night for everyone. But then, like, once A Perfect Circle finally got on the stage, I think everyone was so wore out from the rules that Mars Volta kind of put. It's just the singer was complaining in between every song about this and that. He picked up a big light fixture and started swinging it by its cord. And if this thing, let me explain this. And security was freaking out about this.
I bet.
A rock star move, whatever. He's spinning this giant thing. It had to weigh 40, 50 pounds. And so if this thing leaves this cable and hits someone, they're dead. They're dead. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if it hits them in the head. But he's swinging this fucking thing for like 2-3 minutes throughout the song. And as security are visibly more upset about it, the faster he starts swinging it and the more he does it. I'm like, God, dude, you're an 8-year-old who didn't get a second cupcake at the birthday party. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like, there are times to be like, I'm punk rock and I'm a rock star, and you do the rock star moment. But there are other times like you're just being a cunt. You're just being an asshole. I don't know. So I'm not a fan of that band, which is sad because I really, really loved, still do, At the Drive-In. One of the best records ever. It's from that band. So I don't know. So that wasn't a part. I guess my point of bringing that show up was that was not a party. It was just such a weird sort of event. Like, I was just like, where are? It just felt odd. But I don't know, dude.
That's weird. It's just like kind of like they had makes them feel like they have control of the audience or something. Maybe like they can make them do whatever they want.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, dude, look, dude, we're in a band and we're on stage because we're sick in the head. We want that attention. So believe me, the more control you have over people, it gets you off. But that's why you do it. Well,
yeah.
You do it because you love the music, but also when you get on stage, you're a performer.
Yeah.
And the one thing that you have, the one ace in the hole you have, is if you can control the crowd, they're going to walk away from that remembering the show.
Right.
I've been a kid at a show and they've just been mesmerized, and I've done everything the fucking singers told me to do. Stand up, sit down, jump, do jumping jacks, do push-ups, do sit-ups, punch your neighbor, kiss your neighbor, smoke weed, drink beer. Like, I've done it all. That's just the way it is. It's fun. That's why you do it. I don't know. That's my point. They should be fun. Don't judge. Have a good time. All right. Again, we, at the top of the show, did not mention that we have a guest. He is in the waiting room. What's up, everybody? I want to take a quick minute to talk to you about our partners at TrueNutrition.com, where you can go for all of your protein and supplement needs. When you go out to TrueNutrition.com, do all of your shopping there, and when you go to checkout, make sure you put in promo code CEPN for 5% off of your order. Again, that's TrueNutrition.com. At True Nutrition, they care about what's on the inside of the package, not about excessive branding or any tricks. They care about what's on the inside. So again, if you care about getting good protein, good supplements, go out to TrueNutrition.com and be sure that when you check out, you put in promo code CEPN for 5% off of your order. All right, world, we are back for episode 51 of Raised on the Radio. As we mentioned, we have a very special guest today, former NFL player, now current entrepreneur, Chris Gronkowski. Sir, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
You okay
Absolutely.
with those titles? Do you like ex-NFL player, now entrepreneur? What do you prefer? I always feel weird about introducing people like that.
Man, it's all good either way.
Okay. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about the business. Talk about Ice Shaker. Tell us about it. Obviously, you've had quite a run with this business, so we both follow you on the social medias and all that good stuff. We've seen plenty about it, but tell our audience about it, please.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, I got to get Colt switched over, man, because I saw him break out something else earlier and take a sip out of it. So we got to upgrade his shaker.
What an asshole.
I apologize for that, man. My bad.
It's all good, man. After my NFL career, I was living a healthy, active lifestyle here in Texas. Super hot out. I was going to work. I was bringing one cup. Coming home, I was grabbing a plastic shaker bottle, heading to the gym. By the time I got there, it was warm, was sweating everywhere. It smelled awful. And at that point, it was like, hey, let's go home and just get a bottle that I can use all day, every day. Bring it to work, bring it to the gym as well. Chill on the couch, drink out of it. And I figured I'd just go and jump on Amazon and snag something, because at that time, there was a bunch of insulated bottles out there. But when I went and started looking, there was just nothing that you could easily fill, easily clean, that would still keep your drink cold and have the ability to actually shake and blend some stuff up. So I was kind of shocked by it. And at that point, it was, hey, let's go out and do this myself. Let's make the best bottle that I can for myself. And I started on this journey. It sounds like a very simple idea. I kind of just took an insulated cup and I put a shaker top on it. And that was the first cup. And it's a little harder than you think. It was about 20 prototypes later. Once you try to seal a metal cup, you got to have the right seal. You got to make sure it doesn't leak. That's kind of the biggest issue with all shaker bottles. And I went for it, man. So got our first prototype in, put it up in this room that I'm in now, about 10,000 units, just carried them up the stairs, man. They're about 60-pound boxes each one. And started testing them out and realized really quickly that about half of them leaked. So that was the start of the business. It was a disaster, man. Had to change out every single lid because we couldn't tell which ones were good, which ones were bad. It ended up being a problem with the pop top. And out of all the prototypes we had, we never had an issue with the actual pop top. But for whatever reason, when they did the big run, like half of them, because they were made in sheets of 2, I guess, and half of them were bad. So, if it wasn't for passion and a really strong desire to want to be in the fitness and health industry, I probably would have just stopped at that point. Man, I thought I had something amazing and just kept going and had to grind it out. And within 6 months, we were able to replace every lid and get about $80,000 in sales before I got onto ABC Shark Tank.
Nice. So like when you came up with this concept, did you even know who to go to or what to even do to get rolling with this?
Not really. My wife had started a business. I've been doing that for 5 years, and we were sourcing our own product. So I did know a little bit about how to find a manufacturer and how to get things done, but I definitely didn't even come close to knowing what I should know. Now that I learned as I went on and learned a lot more, I realized I had no clue what I was doing. I should have had outside inspection companies come in, third-party testing. I should have had a lot done before that ever came to market. But man, I was just winging it for the most part. So yeah, I kind of just learned as I went.
How did Shark Tank come about? That's quite a journey to work with people like Mark Cuban and A-Rod. I mean, that's just being in the room with them. I know you were a professional athlete, so you probably don't get as nervous as us two lugheads, but that had to be quite the experience.
Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy. It was all from an email. In 2012, when I was with the Broncos, our agent sent out an email to every player that he had and just said, hey, ABC Shark Tank is looking for any current or former players that might have a cool idea to pitch. So I kept this email. I never even really looked at email at that time, so I didn't know what I was doing. But I kind of just put that star on it, and I came back, man, it was almost 5 years later and found it. And, thought I'd just send an email and get right on the show, right? And I shot one over, and the girl whose email was on there wrote me back right away and was like, hey, sorry, I don't work there anymore. So I was like, oh, yeah, kind of makes sense, right? 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But she was able to connect me with the person who did. And it was actually within like 10 minutes, I got another email back. And the girl was like, hey, yeah, here's the steps. We'd love to have you make a video and kind of pitch us through this video. So told me what to do. It was supposed to be like a couple minutes long. And at that point, I knew it was kind of like this one shot, they're looking for entertainment. You gotta do something to kind of stand out. And at the same time, you also have to show them that you have a legit product and that it's actually selling. So that was the goal, man. I made this video just like ripping off my shirt and like chugging protein shakes. I got my brothers in it, and it was ridiculous, like terrible editing. I didn't know how to edit. So that was like through iMovie, and I sent it over, and I was like, they're going to either love this or hate it. And within a couple of days, I kept checking. You submit it through YouTube and you make it unlisted, so you could go see if anyone watched it. And after a couple of days, I saw like 5 or 10 views on it. So I was like, oh man, it's about to go down. So they were like, we absolutely love that video. That was cool. But after that, it was months of paperwork and just a process to still get on the show.
So was it their idea for you to bring your brothers actually on the show when you were on the show, or was that your idea? Did you kind of pitch that again, or did the video do it enough justice?
So they definitely wanted the bros on the show as well. So that came about like later on. They were like, hey, definitely help bring audience in, and it'll definitely make a better show as well. So it would help out everyone. And I knew that as well. So once they came on too, it was almost kind of like this guarantee that we're going to record and that we're going to air as well. Because what I didn't know, and what you find out as you go through the process, is that even if you get there and you get to the hotel and you're there for the day of recording, some people still don't record. So one of the first people I met, when I got to the hotel, he was just sitting there and he was nervously just walking back and forth. And I'm like, hey, what actually he approached me. He was like, well, hey man, you pitching today, blah, blah. I was trying to get all this information. I'm like, yeah, I think so. I found out that he had been there the year before and just never got a chance to pitch. So they brought him in, and for whatever reason, they just didn't actually use him. So he was just freaking out. He's the second year in a row that he was back there, and was really hoping that he was going to get on. But then even after you record, there's still a good chance that you don't actually air. So I think it's 70% of the ones that do record air, but there's another 30% that, they record it and for whatever reason, they just don't like it, or they don't think it's good enough and it doesn't make it to TV. So bringing my bros on was almost this guarantee that that I was going to air. So with that, it gave me the ability to then stack up on inventory. You see a lot of Shark Tank companies sell out within like the first 5 minutes, and you're like, what were they thinking, right? But between the fact that you don't know if you're going to air, and then you also don't find out when you're going to air until 2 weeks before. So for most companies, it's impossible to stack up an inventory with a 2-week window, and that was the case for me as well. So I wouldn't call it gambling, because I almost I had almost probably a 95% chance of airing, I would think, just because my brothers were on it. So the second we recorded and we got some offers, I went and stacked up my inventory immediately.
So you went to one of the biggest party schools in the country at University of Arizona. So I have to imagine playing Flip Cup on the show was your idea. Yes.
It was 100% my idea.
Okay.
They wanted us to do like some kind of fitness competition or push-ups or something like that. And the more and more I thought of it, I'm like, that's just boring. No one wants to see us do push-ups against the Sharks. Like, obviously we're going to win. In any competition, it just wasn't going to be entertaining. So they kept trying to push that angle. I just kept pushing back, and I thought Flip Cup would be a really good idea. They were 100% against promoting alcohol. They can't do that at all. It's ABC. It's a family show. And so I had to really convince him and tell him this nice story that we always used to play with water after games to get rehydrated. And
Yeah, of course.
After telling them the same story after a couple of times, they went for it. So I think that's going to be the first and the only time you ever see Flip Cup on ABC. So
that's probably because Mark Cuban and A-Rod don't want to do it. You could see when they got up there, their eyes were pretty bugged. Like, I don't know what to do here.
Well, Mark was good, man. So Mark got mad because he was the last one to go, and he was actually really good. So I don't think they showed it, but it didn't make it to him. And so he just started at the end. He's like, man, you guys were just scared of me, and he flipped it and won. And, he's played a lot, I think, because he was pretty confident, and he was pissed that it didn't make it to him.
He seems like a guy you'd want to go get a beer with. He just seems like one of those dudes. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds like that's what he does with his players. I know after they won the championship, there's a couple nice bar tabs out there.
How much actual time are you filming? Because when it airs, it's only 8 to 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, man. That's like if it's a double version, I guess, or like a double scene or whatever they call it. But yeah, usually it could be 5 minutes, but you're really in the room for, man, it could be hours. I mean, sometimes they say it's a couple hours for some people. We were probably around maybe the hour mark. It's hard to tell because it goes by so fast when you're pitching, but I would say I was probably in there for an hour. They show the best parts. They don't show the parts where they just drilled me, asking me, everything I did in high school and my first job and, what I did right after college. Like, they didn't show any of that stuff at all, asking my grades, why I went to school, why I transferred, stuff like that. They really dug down deep. And, for the most part, people don't really want to see that, and it's not as entertaining. And then they cut it to the first, the best 8 minutes, which half of it was playing Flip Cup. So like 4 minutes of the actual pitch or actual negotiation.
So what's the point in digging that far deep into your past, just to make sure that nothing can come back on them if something is bad in your past? Or
yeah, I mean, they just want to see your character.
Okay.
Doing, and I know they say it a lot on the show, but sometimes they're betting on the jockey, not the horse. And
gotcha.
That's kind of their philosophy as well. So they're just trying to see my character and see what I did in the past. And you can kind of tell, by someone's background, what they were doing throughout high school and after, the pros. It definitely helps. I mean, they love the fact that I've had a job since I was 12 doing newspapers, umpiring, working for my dad at the age of 15. When I got out of the NFL, I worked for my wife and grew a business with her for 5 years. So just having a successful background helped a lot as well.
So you mentioned something interesting about you. You mentioned grades, and I heard you mention during another interview that you didn't actually get your first D1 scholarship based on necessarily your football ability, your athletic ability. It was your grades, right?
Yeah, so I guess my first one came from the University of Buffalo, but I didn't take it. I just, at that time, they weren't very good, and I wanted to leave town. They didn't even have an indoor, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm practicing outside in the snow every day. It's just brutal, man. That was really my only D1 offer until it was the 2 weeks left in summer. And I was going to the University of Penn. I was committed. I got into the Wharton Business School, which was something that is extremely hard to do. So it was a huge honor. Yeah, I went on an official visit there, and it just did not seem like the place for me, man. It seemed like it was definitely not a party school, and it was just, man, it just wasn't what I was expecting out of college. So wasn't extremely thrilled to go there and leave with $200K in debt. So I had this last minute offer come in from the University of Maryland, and really it came because they lost some running backs that were supposed to come in. They didn't pass their SATs or ACTs or whatever it was. So they had to start going to prep school or JUCO instead. And then the actual team was about to go on academic probation as well. So my brother Dan was there. He was doing well. He had really good grades. And for me to come in, they just kind of told me like, hey, we'll bring you in. We'll give you a full scholarship because we have these extras, but you better have a 4.0 when you get here. So yeah, I mean, grades, it was definitely the reason that they did it was really because my brother Dan, plus the fact that I just had really good grades.
So then why the move from Maryland to Arizona?
So, man, it was, let's see, they were recruiting Rob, and it's kind of when it went down. But I went there and, I did everything I could. Never really felt like I should be there, right? The head coach would walk by me in the hall, and I'd say hi to him. He'd turn his head the other way. So it's kind of like that atmosphere where you just never felt like you belonged, right? Redshirted my freshman year, came back out my redshirt freshman year, and I was playing special team stuff like that. Had the highest strength index on the team, had good grades, and it came to a point where I got hurt in practice, and I was the goal line fullback. So you have to have two fullbacks on goal line, and I was the second one, and we couldn't run goal line that day. And this was the one practice I missed. The one thing. This is the only time it's ever happened. It was to the point where I couldn't even walk. I tried playing through everything, and I just couldn't walk. So we couldn't run goal line that day. And that spring ball, it was like a week later, my brother Rob came in, and my brother and my dad was there as well. And they're talking to the head coach, and the head coach says to him that we love Dan, but I don't think your brother Chris will ever play for us. So
wow,
but it was just a decision where it's like, all right, man, if that's how you feel about me missing one practice after I've done everything I possibly could to be the best player I could, then I need to make a decision here. So at that point, Rob was like, hell no, I'm not coming to this school. For this guy, if he's going to disrespect my brother like that. So Rob was out, and I played with him throughout high school, and I loved playing with him because it just took us to another level when we played together. And so we started talking about it. He had every single scholarship offer pretty much in the nation. So at that point, it was kind of like, hey, let me hitch along, man. And who else will keep me on scholarship if I go with you? So ended up making a decision to go to Arizona. Just a family friend was really pushing it, and Rob really saw it as a good opportunity with Sonny Dykes going there, threw the ball 80 times to the tight end previously. He'd kind of be that big fish in a small pond kind of feel where he'd come in and just dominate early on and really grow a program from nothing to something great. And we were able to accomplish that in the couple of years that we were there.
You seem extremely humble in everything. Like I'm assuming there was never like a feeling of a shadow or anything like that from any of your other family, right? You guys were always, even with Rob, he didn't go to that college because, they were disrespecting you. It just seemed like you guys have such a tight bond that, you take care of each other no matter what.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's how it's always been, man. It was like just growing up, it was funny because it kind of just completely 180. So when we grew up, all we did was, man, we battled, and we hated each other, man. Like every day ended in a brawl. If you were better than your brother at something, you were going to find a way to beat him in it. You never give him the credit that he deserved, right? Then once we started playing together, it just all changed, man. We became a team, and everything and all of our efforts were to make each other the best players that we could be. And it all came about kind of high school wise, and then that's how it's always been since.
So we should have started the show this way, because I imagine, being from Buffalo, congratulations on yesterday. I would imagine you're pretty happy about that, right?
Bills Mafia, man. Yeah, we grew up
I'm,
huge.
I'm hoping to be seeing you guys next week.
That would be
Although not hoping too much, because that's not what we do, being Cleveland Browns fans. So hope to be seeing you next week, though. So yeah, congrats anyway, though.
Yeah, that would be. I hope so too, man. In Buffalo, my dad went to all the Super Bowls, and he would hang the seat cushions on the wall. And it's funny because then Rob goes to New England, and my dad's just in like this predicament and has to cheer for family. he has stores in Buffalo, and he grew up diehard Bills fan, and he has people just coming in talking trash how he's a traitor and everything you could think of, and it is so funny because the Bills actually had the pick before Rob, and they took a D tackle instead of him, and the Patriots ended up taking Rob the next pick.
Oh wow. I didn't realize until I watched some interviews with you, podcasts and other things like that, that fullbacks aren't really used on a lot of teams as much as you would think they are.
Yeah, man. I think when I was in the league, I think there was 28 fullbacks in the league at that time. So every team I played on, I was the only fullback on the roster. It's just so easy to replace the position with a tight end, or sometimes they'll even use a lineman, so a backup lineman, and or even a linebacker you'll see sometimes as well. So
right,
it's a numbers game in the NFL. So if you can save a spot for someone else, that's big. And if you can do it by having a guy who can do both, they're going to do that. The only problem is that as a tight end, you usually don't have that same mentality. You're not going to go in there and dig a guy out. You're used to taking one step and you're fitting up and you're putting your hands on somebody. So definitely a different mentality. And you see that sometimes when they try to do it and use a tight end, he just doesn't really get the job done.
So I got to know something too about Buffalo. How strong is the legend of Christian Laettner in Buffalo, or did it not reach you?
Man, it didn't reach me. Like I never, like growing up, I never heard anything about it. I mean, I've seen like the ESPN, the E30s on it.
Yeah, so they made it seem like he was the god of Buffalo. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I personally didn't ever hear of him or really know until I saw the E30 a couple years ago.
Lied to us again. Damn them.
It might be like the certain area of Buffalo.
Yeah, sure.
Where I was from, I didn't know about the story.
So which one of you played for four NFL teams total, correct? In your career?
Yeah, 4. I guess San Diego. Yeah, I was there for camp. I was probably there for about 3-4 months. But yeah, 3 other teams that I started on.
So which of the 4 was your favorite city to play in, and then what was your favorite city to visit and play in?
Yeah, man, it's tough to say because when you play, you don't really visit the city, man. You're kind of just you're zoned in, and all you're doing is you're playing football, and that's it. So the coolest city by far, and definitely unique, is Denver. Definitely a cool place to live. Everyone's just always out, and you're in the mountains one weekend. It's pretty cool. It's not as cold as people think. I mean, I got there. I went from Indy to Denver, and I got on the plane and I just put on all this heavy clothes, and I got off and it was like 80 degrees. Everyone's like, why are you wearing that? And I just figured it was kind of like snowing all the time in Denver, right? The truth is, man, it's pretty warm there until you get up in the mountains. But Denver itself it only snows, I think, like maybe like 14 days a week or a year or something like that. Or like you almost never actually get snow in Denver. It's all up in the mountains. So I was kind of shocked by that when I got there. But just a really cool city, to be driving down the street and just like looking down these hills and all these houses. And you don't see like anything like that anywhere else. So that was a cool place to live. I thought I fit in the best place that I fit in team-wise was Indy. It was kind of just this blue-collar team. Everyone was kind of like undersized and worked really hard. So when I got there, felt like a good fit. Everyone was just driving like pickup trucks. And when I was in Dallas, it's kind of this car show, man. I could get in Dallas and it was like every day there's a new $100,000 car in the park. So they every guy had like 4 or 5 cars, and I'm driving up in this beat up used car, and it kind of felt out of place there for sure. But every team I played for, the 3 organizations I played for, man, they were legit. So I definitely got really lucky with the 3 teams I played with. And San Diego, I guess I wasn't there long enough to really see how the organization was run, but that's a great place to live, man. Yeah. It's almost too hard to play there because every day you just want to go to the beach.
But your career did end in San Diego, though, correct?
Yeah, I was there. I signed there my 4th year, and I got hurt in camp, so I took an injury settlement, and that was the last I played.
So I guess by visit I meant which fan base, which organization did you like to beat? Did you like to go to their house and beat them?
Okay. What team did I like to play against and beat?
Yeah.
Man, it was probably the best game to win on the road at was probably the Eagles, man, because when you roll up there, like all you saw was like a billion middle fingers.
Yeah, I was going to say, but they have the most polite fans, though, right?
It sat there behind the bench. They had like professional hacklers, man. Like these guys were good, and they purposely. I'm guessing they're there every game, but they would sit behind the opposing bench, and they would talk so much shit, man. And like it was so good where like, yeah, we've heard it before, but like it never really gets under you where people turn around and start talking back. But there's players like turning back around, like, what'd you say to me, kind of deal. So they were good, man. And so I would say going there and winning was definitely a good feeling.
Who are some of your favorite players that you've played with? Because I know I did see, again, on another interview, you kind of, right now you have two of your own jerseys behind you, but, you kind of put up some of your old teammates' jerseys as well. Who are some of those important guys that kind of you leaned on in your career when you were playing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the jerseys on the wall is this Phil Costa. He came in as a free agent rookie with me in Dallas. He was a roommate of mine at Maryland before I transferred. So both being undrafted, it was kind of like this pact we made that we're both going to make the team. We both did. So that was big, man. Having someone grind with you and be in the same situation with you, it's a blessing for sure to lean on them through a tough camp, especially as a rookie. So that was huge having them there. Guys that I like playing with. I thought D Ware he was the man, going into Dallas and being a nobody and having him actually talk to you and reach out to you and let you work out with them even in the off season was pretty cool to see. Other guys that stick out, man, Pat McAfee in Indy was fun to play with. Being on special teams, I mean, I was mostly playing special teams. I was with him a lot, so he definitely kept it entertaining at all times, man.
I can imagine.
He was fun to play with. So yeah, I mean, guys like Peyton were a blessing to play with. To learn from a champion and to just see the leadership was unbelievable. So that was definitely a blessing to play with him for a year and be in an organization with him in Indy as well for another year. But man, there's a lot of guys. A lot of guys come in and out, and my dogs love barking too. So I'm sure you.
I didn't know what that was at first. I was like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah, we have dogs.
Awesome.
Yep, 3 dogs, 3 kids, man. You can't get through a podcast without hearing a little bit.
Well, it's funny. You're one of your kids was crying a couple of minutes ago, and that's why I bolted out of here real quick. I thought it was mine, and I went up there, and he was still sleeping. I was like, okay, he did mention that he has kids in the room, or around him. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was. Yep.
So are you? This is a conversation we've had before on the podcast about I'm a new dad, have a son, and I grew up playing every sport essentially, and especially in St. Louis, Missouri. It's not like Texas where football rules or any other city. Like Buffalo, that's a hockey city, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like here, you kind of just grow up playing everything. There's not one thing that rules over other sports. So with my son, I want him, if he's interested, obviously, I want him to kind of play everything. And football is one thing that I want him to play. Whereas, people talk about now about, kids don't play football as much because of all the brain trauma conversations and all that good stuff. Are your kids going to play football?
Yeah. So, man, with my dad and the way we were raised, we actually didn't play football till high school. So we played every sport. We started with hockey, baseball, played basketball, really every sport. I think besides soccer, it's the only one I don't think we played. But yeah, I mean, with football, why my dad didn't start us so early was he just thought we were growing too much. We didn't want to, have an injury while our growth plates were still forming at a young age that would affect us the rest of our life. And he just didn't think the coaching was there either. So he'd watch just bigger kids just dominate and really hurt younger kids or smaller kids, and he just didn't want to put us in that situation. We probably would have had to lose weight as well to play like Pop Warner and stuff because we were big kids. But I would, yeah. I mean, if my kids wanted to play, I would think I would follow, the same path that my dad had for us. My dad didn't force us to play; it was all our decision. My oldest brother never even played football ever. It was my second oldest brother who started it for us, and we kind of just followed his footsteps. But I think you learn so much more from football than just playing a game. I mean, it's leadership, it's hard work, it's teamwork, it's multitasking throughout college, all that stuff. You then apply that to life. I mean, life's the same exact thing. It's all about building a team, working as a team, and winning championships afterwards as well. So I would never take it away from my kids. I mean, I am who I am because of the sport that I played and what I learned from it. So if they wanted to play, I would definitely let them play. And it would probably be a thing where they wouldn't play until high school, though.
Right. Well, it seems like you got good ethics instilled in you from your dad anyways, because I heard on another podcast you had said that, we were given nothing. Like you said your dad didn't play football or anything and basically told you, if you want something, you're going to have to get it on your own. You're going to have to go get it.
Yeah, man. I don't know if he just did it because he didn't have money at first. That's how he was raised. If he wanted to go to hockey, he had to walk there. He had to carry his bag. He had to buy his own equipment. And that's kind of the same values that he instilled in us. If you want to play, you're gonna first off, we're not allowed to quit, but you're gonna put the work in and you're gonna do it right. And so with everything that we had, it was the same way. If we wanted a car that was cool, go get a job and find a way to buy it. But nothing was handed to us. We had to work for it, and we had to save our money if we wanted it. So even if we wanted to go to college, it was a decision where that's great. I'll help you get there, but you're paying for it. And I might even front you the money, but you're paying me back every penny of it. So that's his belief. And I love it because you watch people hand stuff to their kids. They really never learn the value of hard work. And, they end up being failures in life, and they were just never taught those lessons. And it's not necessarily their fault, man. They know if they sit there and complain and whine, their parents are going to give them whatever they want. So as a dad with 3 kids, man, it's hard though. It's really hard, especially when you have the means to give them whatever they want. It's hard to say no because they're your kids, man. You want them to have the best. So yeah, it's funny though. I look back at our pictures and it's like, you see our older brother wear one outfit and then it's like 5 years later and I'm wearing it. And then 5 years later, my younger brother's wearing it. And my mom sewed she sewed our sweatpants back together. She sewed our socks. I mean, there was nothing that didn't get passed down. And it was so funny because the youngest brother, who's 10 years younger than the oldest, would be rocking the gear that was so out of style and just so like the hockey equipment, man, was just so funny because everyone by the time he was at the age to play hockey, they had like the cool black helmets. They're all new styles. No one wore the blue pants or the blue helmet, but my youngest brother did, and he was the only one on the ice wearing the blue outdated like big Cooper helmet. And that's how it was, man. Just didn't care. And if people said anything, it was great because we were great athletes, and we just show them on the ice or on the field that it didn't matter what equipment you had.
Well, Chris, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Can you one more time before we get out of here, can you go ahead and plug the business? We definitely wanted to reach as many people through the show as we can. So go ahead one more time. And hey, you mentioned your wife's business. We didn't even talk about it. Please plug that as well if you want.
For sure, man. Yeah, it's iceshaker.com. So you can check us out everywhere on social as well. Products in GNC, Vitamin Shop, Lifetime Fitness. We're in grocery stores as well, some of them. But check out the site. There's a map on there on the front page. It'll tell you where we're at. But online's definitely the best spot. You can also personalize bottles with names, logos, stuff like that as well. So pretty cool option. My wife's business is called Everything Decorated. So it's everythingdecorated.com. She's one of the biggest Etsy shops as well. So if you shop on Etsy, you probably already bought something from her and don't even know.
My wife has already, yeah.
There's a couple shops on there, but her main one is Everything Decorated. And man, yeah, check me out on social. I'm everywhere. Man, TikTok's been big lately. Instagram, Twitter as well. And we have a YouTube channel. I think it will get kind of crazy a little bit later in the year after the season ends, but it's called The Gronks. It's all 5 brothers. And we launched it last year, and it's just a cool way for us to all get together and throw some events and have some fun.
I can't imagine how crazy that's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, Rob's been in season, so it's been a little hard, and we kind of started it to allow us all to get back together because once he retired for a year, that was kind of our thing, was going to his games and seeing each other as a family. So we started this channel to kind of bring that back and just bring back that we could record and have fun with, and everyone could get back and see each other.
Awesome.
Well, dude, good luck with everything. We hope everything goes well, and please let's stay in touch. We'd love to have you back on to see how everything has progressed for you, and we'd love to talk more about the Gronks. Obviously, that's probably going to be a good time. So, Chris, thanks again. Everyone, please go check out Chris Gronkowski and Ice Shaker and everything there. You can find him on all the socials. You can find him everywhere. He's easy to find. He's not hidden by any means. Not hard to miss. So, Chris, thanks again, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And, man, go Browns, man. We'll see what happens.
Thank you so much. We need it. We appreciate that.
Good luck today.
Thank you. Have a good one, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I wanna straight for you.